Good morning and welcome to The Art of Composition. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. So this is part 2. I thought I would look at another Conor Walton painting. And I'm going to break this one down a little bit further today. So this is going to be more complex of an evaluation than I normally would do. So let me get started. And as always, I'm using the 14-line armature. I came across Conor's work about 8 months ago, and I thought I would do a few video lectures taking a look at his work so I can help the modern artist learn more about the 14-line armature and learn how to incorporate it in their own work. But as soon as I drop these few lines, you can tell I'm getting a division here, but once I drop the vertical, it gives me this dominant vertical in the composition, which is right here. So, like I said, this one's going to be a little bit more detailed. When I drop this line, notice how it's picking up the slight angle in the fish's head right there. And one thing to keep in mind is that when you're using the armature, the idea for the artist is not to follow the lines exactly, because then it would look a little bit too much like an engineering drawing, and that's not what the goal is for classically trained artists. But you will see how a lot of these elements fall in line with the armature, and Mikhail Jacobs does talk about that in the book The Art of Composition, a simple application of dynamic symmetry. And it's worth mentioning, even though the artist isn't using dynamic symmetry here. So let me continue on here. I'll try to draw this as quick as possible because I want to get into this. If you want to learn more about this, of course, you can pick up the book Classical Painting Atelier. You can also download my user's guide and those Thomas Kegler PDFs, which are very short PDFs, but they're very helpful. All right, so that's the 14-line armature. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to drop some lines and show you how some of this is coming together. If I drop a vertical right here, I'm framing in this side of the boy, and then I can drop another one. I believe it's right here, which frames in the other side. And I'll bring these right to the top. But also I can drop a vertical here where these two diagonal lines meet right there. And I'll bring that over. It locks in the fish, and then I believe if I drop another one here where these two diagonal lines meet, it locks in the other side of the fish. And of course I'll just bring that up to the top to make it a little bit easier to evaluate. And then I can drop a horizontal line here where these two diagonal lines meet, and now I've framed in the fish. And Juliet Aristides does talk about this in her book Classical Painting Atelier. She mentions several ways the artist will use the armature. They can frame in their subject, they can place their figures on the diagonal lines or some elements on the diagonal lines and so on. And you can tell that the elements are being framed in here as well. So let me continue on. And if I drop a vertical right here, and I'm going to bring this all the way up, where these two diagonal lines meet, I can then drop a horizontal line right here between, in this intersection where all these diagonal lines meet up. And it gives me that line, but I can also drop another horizontal line right here where this vertical and this diagonal line meet. And it gives me this horizontal, which is actually the dominant. I'm going to eliminate this one. So I have the vertical here, the dominant here, in the composition. But I can also drop a diagonal line right here, which picks up the arm from this corner to this corner. And then I could drop another horizontal line right here where this diagonal meets this vertical right there, and it gives me this horizontal and shading right there. And I think that's as far as I'm going to take it. However, let me just drop one more line where I can pick up the edge of the arm, which is right here. Where these two diagonal lines meet, I can drive a vertical there. And I think that's pretty detailed, but you can get a really good idea of how Conor is framing in his subject and also using the armature to place his dominant vertical and dominant horizontal line. But that's going to be it for today. I really do hope this helps. Thanks for joining me.